A very good afternoon, students. Thank you for joining us for week 2 of our training, our first student training interventions, specifically preparing you for the online assessments. If you joined us yesterday, you would have noticed that we're trying to cover a lot of the core skills that are needed for you as you start to engage in the online environment. And over the past week, last week more specifically, one of the key questions that emerged in all our spaces was, what are the proctoring apps that are being used at UNISA? You've heard of the two, the Invigilator app, the Iris app, but there's been a lot of questions on how do we use this? What is it used for? And some of the challenges with using it on a mobile device while answering while completing the assessments. And we've decided to have a specific session that will answer some of these questions for you. And today it is our privilege to have two people who are experts in the space that will guide us and give us the type of skills and knowledge that we need so that when you start using these apps, you will actually be able to apply it with knowing that you've got that core skills in place. It's my pleasure at this time to invite to the floor our first speaker, who is Nicholas Riemer from the Invigilator app, and he will talk to us a little bit about the Invigilator app and answer some of your questions regarding the app. Let me quickly, before I hand over to Nicholas, I should actually flag that you can actually raise your questions in the tab with a little question mark called questions, right? So you find that there's no mic to unmute, there's no camera, so you can't actually pose a question to us. But what we will do is use the chat facility. Behind the scenes, we have an expert group of about 12 people that are responding to all your questions. So please try to post your questions regarding the apps, the proctoring apps. And during our Q&A session, we will then also answer some of those critical questions that you have. So at this time, it's my pleasure now to invite Nicholas Riemer to the floor, and he will unpack a little bit for us on the Invigilator app. Nicholas, thank you very much for joining us today and also for sharing your expert knowledge with us. It's really a privilege for us to have you today once again in week 2. And I'd like to hand over the platform to you as you start to unpack this for us. Thanks, Nicholas.
Afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for having me to add some insights into the Invigilator application, which you will be using for the upcoming and I'm going to be taking you through all the various aspects that you're going to need to take into account and be aware of in your upcoming assessments. I'm just waiting for my presentation to pop up here, so if you just give me 1 second just to kick off from a presentation point of view. For some reason it's lagging just a little bit. No problem here. I'm just going to start then before it pops up in terms of presentation mode. I think just to add some context here in slide 2 before I can open up that slide fully for you. The Invigilator application was built by 3 academics. So myself and 2 senior lecturers from the University of Johannesburg got together to build this application. It's an application that's been built for academics, by academics, and for students specifically within the South African context. And the reason behind that is that cheating has been something that's been around in the media, and it's been something that's been popping up. And the reason that UNISA have made the decision to incorporate the Invigilator solution into your year-end assessments is that we maintain academic integrity. And the reason we're trying to maintain academic integrity is because all of those degrees that you've paid so much money for and that you're working so hard towards achieving, we need to make sure that they retain their value and that they don't detract from how hard you're working because you're now writing them at home. Obviously, writing from home presents completely new circumstances, and we just need to make sure that examination conditions are met and are maintained, even though you are writing at home from your office. And we don't want to see these types of incidents reappearing, and that is the reason that the Invigilator application has been built, and it's the reason that UNISA have implemented the application for your end-of-year exams. Right, moving on, I'm just quickly showing here from the beginning. Thank you. Sorry, for some reason my computer was just lagging. I'm going to now take you through the different application features and what you can actually expect from the application when you start using it for your exams that have started. I think before I kick off with exactly what features are going to be presented to you, one thing to keep in mind is that we have given you enough notice now that you're going to be using the Invigilator application. So please make sure that if you are a student that will be using the Invigilator application, that you download the application and register well in advance of your examination. We don't want you registering 10 minutes before writing the paper. Why? Well, we do have a help desk, and I'm going to go into all of that now for you. But it creates huge amounts of pressure on the help desk, and there's a risk then that you will get a delayed response if we get huge volumes trying to access our help because you've left it too late. So if you know that you are using the Invigilator application, try and register a few days in advance, practice the demo codes, etc. Get familiar with the technology because it's very easy to use. And really, once you've registered, you're ready to go with writing with the application. Right, so the application has been built while using an entry-level smartphone. So the solution works completely off an entry-level smartphone, so you will not need anything else other than your smartphone to run the application. The solution is accessible to all students. So there's never going to be an instance where you won't be able to use the application, because even if you do not have your own entry-level smartphone, you can borrow an entry-level smartphone to conduct the invigilation process while writing your examination. Right, the invigilator, what will you expect, or what's going to happen when you're using the application? So number one, the application is, once you've registered and logged in and you're using it to write your paper, the application is going to ask you for a selfie while you're writing your paper. So when you register, you're going to capture a photo of yourself as well as enter your different details into the application and the registration process. That will then be your master file photo. And when you are now writing your examinations at UNISA going forward, when you capture a selfie on the app, it's just making sure it's the right student that's writing the paper at the time. Again, what I said is the importance of academic integrity. So it's not fair if other students are writing on behalf of other students, because then it takes away the academic integrity and the value of the degrees that you guys are working so hard towards achieving. So therefore, the application is simply going to request a photo. At some point in your examination, they will be at random times. It's not going to be a burden. It's only going to take between 5 to 10 seconds to administer the task. So it's not going to eat into your exam time or disrupt you. It's just there to make sure that it's the right person writing the examination. There's also going to be audio recordings. You will see that when you register on the application will take you through exactly how the audio recordings are going to work, but ultimately they run in the background. The phone is recording while you are writing, and again, very important to make sure that you're writing under exam conditions. So if you are writing in a venue, you're not speaking to yourself, you're not speaking to other students, and that's exactly what needs to happen when you're writing at home, in your homeroom or in the library or wherever you're writing the specific examinations. We just need to make sure that there's no talking going on around the examination itself. What happens if there's a large amount of noise where you're writing, or if there's a loud car, or if your neighbors are having a party? It's only going to pick up human speech, so there is a chance that it will flag or fail the specific speech detection. But again, your lecturers and the academic staff at UNISA will be listening to it, as well as ourselves, to make sure that it's not unethical behavior that we're picking up. So don't worry about noises that are not related to the examination. That will not be a problem. It will only be if we pick up multiple voices discussing exam-related questions that is then flagged as a potential disciplinary issue, because then you could be potentially discussing the examination and getting help. All this is doing is just making sure you're writing the exam the same way that you would have if you were writing in a venue. Thirdly, customized instructions. So the application is going to ask you for a photo of your ID or a photo of your student card, or any form of identification. So again, think about if you were writing in a venue, you would have to prove that it was you that was supposed to be writing that specific assessment when sitting in that seat. The application is just doing the same thing. So please make sure when you are writing your examination that you have some sort of or some form of identification document close by, so that when the application requests that specific photo, it's there, it's close to you, quickly capture the photo and you move on, just like you would have done when you presented those specific documents to the physical invigilator when you used to write in venues. There's also a built-in browser into the application. So what that means is students that are wanting to use their phone to write an examination can do so through the Invigilator application. So once you have logged in to the Invigilator application and you have started your examination or your assessment, you will see a button at the top right-hand corner of your app that says Access LMS. You'll be able to access the LMS. So you'll be able to access My UNISA, and you'll be able either to perform your MCQ type quiz, for example, or you'll be able to access your exam information and question paper there in PDF. So if you are a student that is considering using a single device for your upcoming examinations, it's not a problem. You will be able to access My UNISA through the Invigilator application. But again, what I'm going to talk about a bit later is practicing and just getting familiar with the application when you do a demo code, just so that you're familiar with how exactly you would do that. Okay, script upload. So you will also be requested to take a photo of your script when you are writing a scan and upload paper. So if you are writing on an A4 sheet, when your exam time counts down, so at the end of the exam session, there will be an automatic camera that opens up in your phone, and you'll be able to capture each page of your script quickly to upload into the Invigilator's servers. This also saves in your phone, so you'll be able to share it with yourself. And then go and upload that PDF to My UNISA exactly the way you would have done so before the Invigilator was around. So two ways that will work. If you're writing your physical paper, it will then open up automatically in your phone when your examination finishes for you to quickly capture each page of the script and upload to the Invigilator dashboard. But then you can also share that PDF file with yourself and then use that to upload to My UNISA, so that you do not have to use multiple scanning applications to capture that physical script. There shouldn't be any problems with uploading. If for whatever reason you are experiencing any trouble with the Invigilator application in uploading the data, please then exit the application up UNISA and then come back into the application to make sure all your data then uploads successfully to our servers. That is only if you are experiencing any upload difficulties with regards to the Invigilator data. Otherwise, it should work perfectly well with just capturing a photo of your script and then moving on to then uploading that PDF file that's now saved into your email or WhatsApp, for example, and then uploading that into My UNISA's portal. And then lastly, the out of time function of the application, guys. Just like you wouldn't leave the venue with your paper and walk outside the venue and come back in with your paper, it's exactly the same way that the application works. If you, for whatever reason, are to exit the application or minimize the application, your lecturer will be informed, and they will be informed with exactly how long you have done this. You need to run the application the whole time while completing your examinations. Please stay in the app. Do not manually lock your cell phone, and do not minimize the application. If you manually lock your cell phone, it then obviously overrides the application running in the foreground. So you need to, once you scan your QR code to begin your assessment monitoring, just leave the phone alone. The phone will automatically dim so that it doesn't chew battery life. So everything's controlled from that point of view. But if you manually lock your phone, you will override all of these controls. So please do not do that, because then it will flag that you have left the application. Do not minimize the application, and do not close the application for whatever reason. It will flag your lecturer, because we do not know what you are doing then when you have exited the application. You could have opened WhatsApp or the internet, so you need to run the application full time. The only time that you will be permitted to exit or minimize the application is to contact the Invigilator help desk if you are experiencing a technical or a user issue and you need to ask for assistance. We've got a reconciliation system where we can see exactly when you've contacted our help desk to make sure that the time that you are out the app then reconciles back to that. So that will be the only time that you exit the application or minimize the application. So please keep that in mind when writing with the Invigilator app. I'm going to quickly play you a demo video. It's short, it's 3 minutes. It's just going to paint a picture now with exactly what the application is going to ask of you, and just give you more clarity around what I've discussed with you right now.
Welcome to the Invigilator app. This app helps you complete online assessments safely, securely. All you need is a charged smartphone with a camera and a small amount of data or a Wi-Fi connection. The Invigilator app helps prevent cheating. How does it do this? While you're writing your exam, the Invigilator app takes random audio recordings, and if speech is detected, the recording is flagged for your lecturer to review. There will also be selfie and photo requests used to verify your identity and prevent unethical behavior. Your lecturer sets up the amount of photos the app will ask for and audio recordings it will capture. Let's show you what that looks like. Download the app on Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Sign up with all your details. The app will ask you for permission to access your camera and microphone. Take your initial selfie by clicking the camera icon when prompted to do so. This will be the photo that the facial recognition will run selfies against, and flag if there is an unfamiliar selfie taken during an exam. Now you are all set. When commencing an exam, log into the app and the dashboard will load. You can start the exam by entering the exam code or scan the QR code visible on your exam. Once you started the exam on the app, you'll see the photo doc and the time remaining in the bottom right corner. You can now place your cell phone next to you and commence your exam. The app will notify you at random intervals for predetermined requests that your lecturer has set up. The pop-up request will ask for a specific photo. In this example, it's a photo of your exam paper. Take the photo, it then loads into the photo box. Now it's asking for a selfie. Take note that an error will appear if your face is not visible. When the timer runs out, it will load the files onto the cloud. This is when you'll need data or an internet connection. This pop-up means the Invigilator app has successfully uploaded all the information. Now you're all done. Your lecturer will review the photos and the recordings the app sends through. Don't worry about your personal or test data. It's completely safe and secure. Your information is only used for assessment purposes and deleted later. So how can you prepare for an assessment using the Invigilator app? Download the app ahead of time to be sure it's compatible with your phone. Make sure your phone is charged, or else the app will alert you that it needs to be charged. Have an internet connection or data for the beginning and end of your assessment. Now you are ready to use the Invigilator app. All the best with your upcoming assessment.
Right, guys, so as you can see, there's absolutely nothing to be concerned about in using the application. The application is very easy to use. It just requires you to register in a timeliest manner. So please don't leave it to the last minute when registering for the application. It's very easy, the registration process. But if for whatever reason you do experience a technical or user issue, I will go through how you contact our help desk. But please do not leave this to the last minute. Rather do it well in advance so that you know you are all ready for your upcoming examinations. The last slide I just want to quickly cover is with regard to the communication on the MOOC. So you will find this on the MOOC, and please, looking at point 1 there, there's a very important link there that you'll be able to use if you are unsure whether or not your specific module requires the use of the Invigilator application. Not all students are going to be using the Invigilator application, so if for whatever reason you are unsure, please go onto the MOOC and click on that link and type in your module code, and it will then confirm whether or not you will be using the Invigilator application. Your lecturer will also confirm and communicate with you directly if your module will be using the application. And then as a last resort, you will obviously see the QR codes being distributed beforehand, and this will also obviously alert you to the fact that the Invigilator application will be used. Like I said, if you are using the application and you have checked on this link and you are sure that you are using the Invigilator application, then please make sure you register nicely in advance before writing your papers so that you make sure that everything is up to date and that you are ready to go, so that it's not a last minute panic then on the help desk in order to get you right and get you ready to use it. Secondly, there's a longer video in terms of the video that I've just played for you now. There's about a 7-minute video that explains how the application works in even more detail to the short one that I've just played now. It's obviously accessible there through the MOOC. So if you are still unsure of how the Invigilator application is going to work in your upcoming examinations, there is a longer video for you to watch. Please click that link and you'll be able then to watch the video. Okay, point 3, there is a detailed student guide that is also available through this link. So again, through the MOOC, you click on this link, there's about a 20-page student guide that walks you step by step through the registration process, as well as what the application is going to do. There are different video tutorials built into the student guide to further assist you should you have any questions, and I will go through that student guide now with you after I finish going through the slide. Lastly there, point 4, there's also a frequently asked question document. Please click that link. Any of the questions that might be going through your head at the moment would have been asked before, so therefore you'll be able to find the answers there in the FAQ document. And then point 5, this number here, the 073 505 8273 number. Please save that number. That is the Invigilator Help Desk WhatsApp number. So it is a WhatsApp help desk, so it cannot be phoned. You will WhatsApp any issues that you have with regards to registering, any technical issues, any user issues to that number, and one of our agents will be in touch with you shortly to assist and make sure that you're back on track in using the Invigilator application. If for whatever reason you experience any issues or you have any queries, you can direct it to that WhatsApp help desk, and one of our agents will then assist you further in making sure that you are then ready for the upcoming Invigilator applications. But please don't be a student that contacts that help desk 5 minutes before your examination because you've only decided to register or try and download the application 5 minutes before writing. Please try and download the application a few days in advance, register for the application so that if there are any issues, you can contact the help desk well in advance so that it's not a rush, it's not a panic in sorting whatever the issue out, whether it's technical or user, in getting you back on track and ready to write that specific examination. I'm now going to share with you quickly my student guide that I want to show you, which is also obviously available there on the MOOC, and you can obviously click that link. It's also been distributed to you through the lecturers, and I just quickly want to open that up now and just walk you through it sort of step by step, just so that you're familiar with it from our side as well. So I think just as it's opening up, it's just taking a bit of time here to open up my share tray again. There seems to be a bit of a lag here in the network. I think what's important to note is that the application is there just to replicate that venue experience that you are now no longer missing. It's there to just make sure that you are writing under exam conditions. And the reason that we want to do that is because that obviously then ensures the integrity of all your qualifications that you are spending so much money and effort in achieving, and ensures your qualifications. Because the problem is that if we don't maintain academic integrity and there's no surety that it is your work, then all of a sudden the employability of the degrees that you're getting then starts to fall away. And that is why UNISA's obviously made this decision in using the Invigilator application to ensure that integrity is maintained. And from all the information that I've shared with you, as well as the videos, you'll see that there's nothing to be worried about. It's simply performing the role that the physical invigilator would have done if you were writing in a venue. It's now just doing it while you're writing at home or remotely. So this is the student guide that you will have access to. So it is a detailed student guide with regards to all of the information that you're going to need to know with regards to the application and using the application for the upcoming exams at UNISA. Everything that I've discussed with regards to the description of the app and what the app is going to do and what the app is going to ask of you is here in this page, and it is summarized in these bullet points. So again, it's just telling you that it's going to ask you for a selfie, the reasons behind that, the customized photos, the audio recordings, as well as the location. The video guidance, so again, that video that I told you about that you can access there directly off the MOOC, there's another video here which is even longer if you want further information around the way the Invigilator application works. There's another video that you can now click and watch, which will give you more detailed information on the Invigilator application and what you can expect when using it. But I think that watching the videos that I've just showed you now, as well as the video that's accessible through the MOOC, as well as this video, will give you more than enough information around what the application does and preparing you, and then obviously putting you on track to just practice 1 or 2 exams through the demo code. The Invigilator technical support team is on hand to assist you. We are running extra shifts. We have got a number of agents that are there to assist. So please make sure that you save this number for the upcoming examinations, because any issue that you experience with the Invigilator application, please make sure you contact us while writing, before writing, so that we can address the issue. Please make sure that you also know that this help desk number is only there to assist you for the Invigilator application. Unfortunately, we cannot assist you for any other UNISA related queries. So if you've got a problem with My UNISA or anything around your exam, you would need to still contact UNISA for that. We can only assist you for the Invigilator application. So any problems, any queries around the app, please contact that specific WhatsApp help desk number. The in-app browser, there's a video here and information around how that works. And again, that's for you who wants to use one single device to write your upcoming examinations. You will be able to do so by accessing My UNISA through the Invigilator application. So you would need to log into the Invigilator application, enter your code to commence your exam invigilation, and then you would be able to access My UNISA through the application and complete your MCQ or download your PDF script and then perform the examination that way. So if you're a student that was concerned that you only had a single device and you were planning on using your cell phone to view your question papers, well, you can still do so the exact same way. You will just now need to do it through the Invigilator application, so that there's also an invigilation process that is followed, and the application can then monitor you, making sure that the exam integrity is then there. The demo test. Now, this is exceptionally important, guys, and please make sure that when you have registered for the application, you've at least attempted the demo test at least once in preparation for your upcoming examinations. All this demo code is a short 8-minute quiz or 8-minute test, and it basically just replicates what's going to happen in your upcoming examinations. It's only going to take you a few minutes to do, but it's going to walk you through everything that the app's going to ask you when the big time comes in writing your actual examinations. It's always nice to get comfortable around what you're going to expect. So don't just go in blind, for example, into your first examination, not knowing how the invigilator works. Rather prepare nicely, download, register the application well in advance, and use this QR code here, which is available on the MOOC through your student guide that I'm going through with you now, to demo the product, to get a feel for the product and to get comfortable with the product, because that's exactly what the application is going to ask you to do. This is just a short version of it, just so that you are familiar with the technology. There's a step-by-step walkthrough that's also been built in the student guide, and I'm going to take you through it very quickly now. So obviously step 1, download the application. So it doesn't matter what phone you've got, whether it's an Apple, whether it's an Android phone, whether it's a Huawei, the application is available on all app stores. So depending on what phone you have got, please download the application from your app store. That would be step 1 in getting yourself ready for the Invigilator application. Register on the application. So you will now need to put all your information in from your university. So your university email address, your student number, as well as your name, surname, other information in registering. Now, obviously, very important to first know whether or not you will be using the application in your upcoming examination. So if you are unsure, please use that link, that first link that I showed you in that document on my last slide that I went through you with, that's available on the MOOC. Type your module code in and just confirm that you will be using the Invigilator application before downloading the app and then trying to register. You will only be able to register for the application if you're a student that is in need of using the Invigilator application for UNISA's upcoming examinations. The verifying of your account. So after you have registered on the application, you will need to verify your account. You will receive a PIN that will be sent to the email address, your UNISA email address. And just like verifying any other type of account you set up, you will enter that code back into the application and it will then verify your account. The application then does a calibration test. So it's essentially a demo. It's a walkthrough calibration test showing you everything that you can expect in the application. The types of sound alerts that you can expect to hear when the application is asking you to take a photo of yourself or a customized object like a student card or ID document. It will also show you how the microphone recordings are going to work when the microphone recording, and it's going to test everything to make sure that the phone that you're using is working and that you are then comfortable with the way the application is going to work in the registration process. If you go through the registration process and you fully calibrate, you've now got an idea of what the application is going to be asking of you. If you then go and do the demo code as well in advance of your examinations, you will be fully rehearsed then with regards to what you can expect Invigilator to do in the upcoming exams. Your master file selfie after registering will be the photo that you capture, and all photos going forward when writing examinations through UNISA will be compared back to this master selfie photo. And the reason that we do that again is just to make sure that it's the right person that's writing the examination there for UNISA. Login. Please put your login details somewhere. If you're not going to use the Remember Me function, you can use the Remember Me function. Please do. I recommend in doing so. If you're not, please make sure you've got your username and your password somewhere handy and that you don't forget it then after you've written your first examination then with the application. If for whatever reason you have forgotten your username or your password, please just follow the forgot username or password link and reset your password. A new password would then be sent to the email address that you've given, which will be your My UNISA email address. So please just make sure you follow this step should you have any issues with forgetting your password. The demo test, like I mentioned, very important getting familiar with the application. Please make sure you've had practiced the demo test at least once before actually writing your real life examinations now at the end of this week or next week. Right, demo test is obviously a few pages here in the student guide, and the reason being is that it is so important in yourself getting familiar with the application. Just towards the end here, with regards to the exam code, so the OTP, so there is information in the student guide around this specific feature. I haven't talked about this feature yet. So for those of you that are writing online examinations, so you're writing on My UNISA, you're probably doing an MCQ type quiz, you might be asked to give an OTP PIN, just like you would with regards to a banking platform when you log into your bank. All you're going to do then is one of your MCQ quizzes is going to ask you for a specific code. On the app, it's going to say generate code. You would generate your one-time PIN, and you would then enter it as one of your questions in the MCQ quiz or your online quizzes on My UNISA. And this is just to make sure that the person that's sitting with the phone is also the person that is doing the MCQ or online assessment. Nothing complicated there. Again, please practice on the demo code, because if you practice the demo code, you'll be able to see everything that I'm talking about here in real life, which makes it much easier to understand and comprehend, but nothing major here. When you do see a question that asks you for a PIN, you just generate that PIN in the application. You will see the button there. You click the button, it gives you your PIN. You just enter your PIN and you move on with your examination. The technical support team, guys, again, very, very important to note that the technical support number is there and it's there to help you. If you have any issues with the Invigilator application, whether it's a query, whether it's a registration issue, whether it's an issue before your exam, during your exam, please make sure you WhatsApp that specific WhatsApp help number and we will be able then to assist you. Please don't sit and suffer in silence and then only contact UNISA or ourselves afterwards. If you have got any issue at all, contact us straight away, because one of the agents will make sure they handle your issue and put you straight back on track to continue writing correctly with the Invigilator application. Because again, it is so important that you all use the Invigilator application correctly, because this maintains academic integrity at UNISA and makes all the degrees so much more valuable that you are studying so hard towards. That is where I'm going to end my presentation now, and I think we're going to open it up for questions. If any of my colleagues would like to add in, Yuri, I don't know if there's anything that I've missed that you'd like to just add in, otherwise we can then open it up to questions.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, Nick, just a few themes that we've seen from the Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, just to remember that you will only be invigilated by your phone, but the actual question paper, whether it's a take-home exam or whether it is a scan and upload paper or an MCQ paper, is still found on My Exams. So you will follow the same normal route. You won't necessarily get your paper in the app. You will still have to go to My Exams and locate the paper there. So if you have a laptop and a mobile phone, you will use your laptop to access My Exams and to attempt the assessment on your laptop and whilst being invigilated by your phone. If you only have one device, so you only have a mobile phone and you've got to attempt the assessment or the exam from there, then we do have a built-in browser in the application, like Nick has explained, where you will be able to access My Exams straight from the application. You don't have to actually use the built-in browser. It's only if you have only one device. So if you've got a laptop, please use your laptop. It's only if you have only one device that you will access My Exams through the application's built-in browser, and you will then get access to your exam paper there. Then at the end of the assessment, you will submit your responses on My Exams as well. So if it is an MCQ paper, you will just complete the MCQ paper. But for the take-home exams, you will take photos of each page of your answer sheet in the application before you finish the invigilation. And thereafter, you will then leave the application and you will then have to scan and upload onto My Exams as well. So you will be able to share the PDF document that you've scanned in the Invigilator application out of the app, so that PDF document, so that you could just upload it onto My Exams straight from there, so you don't have to scan it twice. But it's important to note that you do have to submit on My Exams. So you cannot only take photos in the app of your script at the end and then think you are done. You still have to then upload it onto My Exams. Dewald, anything else you would like to add on to that?
No, just the importance, and maybe Denzel can also come in here, but just the importance to first make sure that your app will make, or your module will make use of the Invigilator app. So Nick has also referred to that, but there's a link where you enter that module code to confirm. So only check that first. So it might be that you struggle to register, but it's because you are not required to use the application. So first check that. And then, although it's been said, I just want to iterate, it's your responsibility to make sure that you've downloaded the app, registered, and done the demo test, which is all in the student guide, before the day of your assessment. We cannot assist you on the day of the assessment with technical problems, so that's your responsibility. So I just wanted to highlight those aspects, although it was covered. Thank you so much, Yuri. Thanks, Nick.
Perfect, Denzel. I don't know if there are any other questions that you're seeing popping up that you'd like us to address now.
Thanks, Nicholas. Thanks, Nick, Jury, and Devalt. Much appreciate that clarification. I think there's a lot of questions that came in, and while you're on the platform, maybe I can raise some of these questions. But I think for the students, just to recap, two very, very important mentions. One is the WhatsApp help desk, that's 073-505-8273. 073-505-8273. And I'll also ask the colleagues on the chat to also paste that number onto the chat so that the students know who to connect on that WhatsApp group. The other important point that you made note of is that the students should actually register way in advance for the app so that they do not leave this for last minute and have a load on the system. So I think that's very important for all our students to make sure that you load the app, try it out way before your exams, not 10 minutes before the exams. Sufficient time to test the app and make sure that you're 100% on track before you can get into that exam paper. So Nick and Jury and Devalt, there's a lot of questions here, but let me see how many we can cover, right? How do I know if the lecturer has successfully downloaded the QR code to the Invigilator app? QR code, maybe you want to touch a little bit about the QR code, Nick?
Perfect. So yeah, the lecturer will put the QR code on your exam script. So you will see it on the front page of your question paper or information booklet. So that's when you will know how to access the QR code. But I think it will also be distributed beforehand to students by the lecturer so that they will have it on hand. But the easiest way is that when you obviously access your script and your exam, you will see the QR code with the instructions on the QR code on the UNISA paper, and you will simply then log into the Invigilator application, either scan that code or enter the manual number below the code into the Invigilator application to kick off the invigilation session. That will then mean that you are now being monitored and that you are under exam conditions.
Thanks, Nick.
Denzel, there's a question I've also seen that I think is important to highlight is, I think just the importance, and although Yuri has said it now, but the importance of uploading your script in time on My UNISA. So let's say you've done your examination, you've pressed the button, I'm done with the examination on the application, the Invigilator app, and for some reason you've got a bad connection and the data doesn't want to upload on the phone. That is something that's not time sensitive. So you can then exit the application, scan and upload using the regulations of UNISA to get that on My Exam. So it's very important that if you, for example, have a bad signal, you struggle with the app upload, that you can do that later. So it's important to make sure you know where to find your UNISA paper. There's people struggling with that. You find that out before the time. You know exactly where you need to go and upload that and take notes of the times communicated by UNISA. So the application cannot be a reason that you missed the upload time or you didn't know where it is. Remember, the app is used for invigilation. It's not used for obtaining the paper or submitting the paper. It's on the side invigilation. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So if you struggle with a weak connection, you exit the app, you scan and you upload to My UNISA. Extremely, extremely important. Thanks, Denzel.
Thanks, Devalt. Let me look for more questions here. I see Erica is here as well. So Erica, please feel free to jump in. There's a question on where do we access this. So one of the students says, I've bought a new phone without Google Play, which means I'm unable to download any additional apps from Google Store. What do I do? What do I do in this instance? Is there a separate link?
So that sounds like it's a Huawei phone. If it doesn't have access to Google Play, it sounds like it's a Huawei phone. So the application is also on Huawei App Gallery. So just like they were downloaded on the Google Play Store, they'd be able to access the application on the Huawei App Gallery store and download it in the exact same manner.
Perfect. So Huawei App Gallery, that's a good one for the students to get on. Okay, there's a next question. I'm doing my assessment on my computer and doing my drawings on my paper. Then I will take a pic and send it to my WhatsApp and then download it and insert it on my Word document. Will the app flag this? And if so, how do I combine my drawings to my Excel so that it becomes one PDF document? So the idea is the student is using a separate piece of paper, sending it to the WhatsApp and then onto the system. Does the system flag this?
Yeah, unfortunately, the system will flag that as you need to exit the application. So unfortunately, when you use the application on that phone, you cannot exit the app. So let's say you only have one device. So that's what Yuri has explained. Then you can access the LMS, but it's still ideal to use two devices. But in this instance where there's two devices, but I understand what the student is explaining, to get that picture. Unfortunately, they can't exit that app. So it's not ideal, but I would then try and consider maybe just borrowing a device for that time duration that you can do that. But unfortunately, the app will mark that as out of app time.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Deval. There's another question. If I finish the exam and upload the answers before time, can I just log off the Invigilator app? Nick?
Yes, you can. So there will be the finish exam early button that the students can click, and it will then confirm, are you sure you want to click and end your exam session? And then if they've missed any of the other requests, it will then request them to do whatever they've missed. So another selfie, for example, and then open the script upload feature if they need to upload the pictures of their scripts to the Invigilator service too. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. If they have finished the examination, they can click end exam early, follow the prompts that there, and then they can obviously then follow the My UNISA steps with regards to then uploading their scripts onto My UNISA, as Deval has just mentioned.
Thanks.
Denzel, another question that I think is quite important. So the question is, so we must take pictures of our answer sheet when we're done with our examination. Yes, that's true for the Invigilator app, but I think what's very important is you will only be required to do that if it's a home examination or scan and upload examination. So if it is an MCQ examination, we will not ask you to do that because, of course, it's an online examination and you can't take pictures or move back. So that's only for home examination or scan and upload, which are synonyms. So it's only in that case that we require pictures. That's a risk mitigation tool that you don't abuse the scan and upload time for writing. So that's part of invigilation. You still upload to My Exams. So I just want to reiterate that if there's any technical problems, you contact the technical help desk, but if everything fails, you still stay within the parameters of getting your paper through My UNISA or My Exams, writing that and uploading that. So we don't want a technical glitch that happens, although it's in small cases, but we don't want that to bother you from not submitting and writing your examination. So important to understand that context. Thanks, Denzel.
Thanks, Deval. I know you've answered this question already in several other platforms as well, but maybe just for the sake of our students, how do I avoid messages, call notifications, etc. coming through? Should my phone be, I think you've already addressed this, but maybe you can just touch on that again, Nick.
Sorry, Denzel, you just broke up there.
Won't notifications, messages interrupt exam? I know we said something about airplane mode. Yeah.
So the application only requires internet when the student logs in. So when you log into the application to scan the QR code, you need to be connected to the internet. Once you are in and you are now writing your assessment, you can turn the phone to flight mode to ensure that no communication then comes through the phone, your phone doesn't ring, you get app notifications, etc. And then only at the end, when your examination countdown timer has now finished, you can then turn the phone back onto data or back onto Wi-Fi to upload all the data then to our servers. So you can, by switching to flight mode, completely eliminate the risk of the phone disrupting you while writing. And I think that that's a very important thing to note. Obviously, the application, if someone does phone you and you forgot to turn it to flight mode, please don't answer the call or please don't open the WhatsApp message, because then it will obviously flag as having exited the application. You are now under exam conditions. It's like answering your phone if you were sitting in a venue previously. So if you forget to turn to flight mode and your phone does ring, just ignore everything. It won't disrupt the way the application is running. It will only disrupt it if you take the call, because that will then exit the application.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, I see another question here, Deval. Maybe you can jump in here. What about background noises? I mean, some of them are saying that they are in areas where they're not alone at home, firstly, so they've got people that are at home, they've got children in the background. Will that interfere in the process?
No stress at all. So first of all, we only look for voice, but as once that is flagged, the examinations department at UNISA works through that. So if it's your mother bringing you nice coffee and something as to snack on, nothing will happen. So it's only if there's evidence that you've been discussing the subject matter. So please, there's no need to stress about normal noises. UNISA understands the reality of their students and all of us. So there's no need to stress about that. Thanks, Denzel.
Thanks, Deval. I'm just looking for more questions. There's just a few more left. If a photo is asked on the exam paper and you write on a laptop, can I take a photo of the screen, a screenshot, and send through? Will that be flagged on the app? No.
So you can take a photo of that screen, absolutely. It will not be flagged. So if you are writing on a laptop and you wish to take a photo of that, then please take a photo of that.
Okay, so that's perfect. Okay. Okay, I just want to see. Can I ask a family member to help me submit the exam paper? That's a good one. Can I ask a family member to help me submit the paper in case I do not know where to submit it in a PDF format?
So you can. I mean, ideally, obviously, you're under exam conditions. So, I think get familiar with the upload process before the examination. But again, if you do need assistance in submitting and you've got a technical issue and someone's there to assist, as long as there's not an unethical discussion taking place and you're getting someone to assist you with the examination, then it won't be a problem. But I think you must also understand that when you do have a scan and upload paper and you have now captured an image of each page of the script, there will also be the option to share that PDF with yourself on your email or WhatsApp at the conclusion of the examination, and then you can upload this directly to My UNISA, so you do not have to use multiple scanning applications. So the process has been simplified with the Invigilator application. But if a student does need assistance, absolutely, please get assistance, but just do not talk about the examination or behave unethically, because that's only what the application is trying to detect.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Denzel, there's one more thing. I've seen it now twice. I think it's good to just deal with that. Is somebody's asked, do I use Iris on my laptop and the Invigilator on my phone? So I think an important question that modules, and not all UNISA modules are selected for proctoring, first of all. So you need to make sure your module is selected, but then it's either selected for Iris or either selected for the Invigilator. So there's no module which will require you to make use of both solutions. So I think that is important. Thanks, Denzel.
Thanks, Deval. I see a last question here. I know there are many other questions, but these seems to be very direct questions. And with those direct questions, I would advise the students to actually log onto that WhatsApp number and pose those questions. You will then get the support specifically to those questions and challenges that you are experiencing. But I see some other questions also, which is quite common here, that we address a lot of the issues related to using the phone as the app, but not so much the laptop. Do we see any challenges posed on laptop application of this?
No. So if you are a fortunate student where you're going to have a laptop available to write your assessment, you would write as though you have always done so. So there would be absolutely no change. The only change would be is that your phone would then sit next to the laptop and you would run the Invigilator application then solely through the cell phone. So there'll be no impact at all with the way you're writing on your laptop. It will work as it has in the past. You will just scan the QR code from your laptop when you start the examination, and the phone will then invigilate you, and then you will conduct the examination on your laptop as you have done in the past.
Denzel, apologies, I want to add is also that people just realize that the Invigilator is a proctoring solution on a smartphone. So you're never going to download that on your laptop. It is on your smartphone, whereas Iris is a solution on a laptop. So I think that's a good to just highlight that. So if you write on a laptop but you're using the Invigilator app, you do so, and the invigilation is taking place through your smartphone. but that would be different for Iris. But I think it's important to understand that the Invigilator app is only used on a smartphone. Thanks, Denzel.
Yeah, well, just a last comment
Sure.
from me is just once again that, ladies and gentlemen, the scanning to upload onto my exams of a take-home assessment takes place after the invigilation has ended. So it doesn't take place in the Invigilator app. So once you've finished written your assessment, and you've taken the photos of your script as instructed by the Invigilator application, you finish the invigilation, and then you can close the application and you can go out of the application. And if you then choose to use a different scanning app, you can, or if you want to use the scan generated by the Invigilator, you can use that scan PDF as well. But that's a separate process where you then, after the invigilation has finished, leave the application, and then you can access your My Exams portal through any way necessary to then upload for your final submission over there.
Thanks a million, Jerry. Okay. Thanks, colleagues. So I think that's come to the end of the questions on this. So thank you very much, Nick, Jury, and Devalt, and Erica. I think you've all, even through the chat, Erica, you've all answered some of the critical questions that the students have been experiencing. And I think you brought on some of the clarifications that is needed. And I know that there are other questions that will pop up in the chat, so we will then answer them on the chat itself to those students. But I should also then reinforce to all our students, remember this WhatsApp number, colleagues, please, 073-505-8273. We will paste it in the chat as well and publish it. That is your key number for any of the issues that you may encounter, and you will get the direct help that you need as you progress with your examination. So once again, thanks, Nick, for excellent presentation. Once again, week 2, thank you for sacrificing the time with us and the colleagues as well. It's been a worthwhile session, and we look forward to also engaging further with us as we go through this exams, which I know has put much stress on many of our students. So thank you, colleagues, once again. Thanks, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the second proctoring app, which is the Iris app, specifically by the College of Science, Engineering and Technology. And it's my pleasure at this time to invite to the floor Lazarus Aaron. And Lazarus is from the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, and he actually facilitates the training of lecturing staff on the app. So he's one of the key voices to provide you with that type of information that you need on specifically the Iris invigilating app. Lazarus, thank you very much for joining us today and taking the time. And I welcome you to the session, Lazarus, and as you take us through the Iris app. Thanks, Lazarus.
Thank you, Denzel. Good evening, colleagues and students. Okay, so Iris. I think the first thing to note, and the most important thing to note, is that Iris is actually only used in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology at UNISA. Yeah, so it is not used in any of the other colleges, only in CSET. So you may have, you may belong to another college, so you have to look at your timetable to check. And you may belong to another college, but you might be writing a CSET exam. So even though you do not belong to CSET, you could possibly still be writing a CSET exam and a CSET Iris invigilated exam. So it's important to actually check your timetable to see if your examination is being Iris invigilated. So obviously some of the exams that could be Iris invigilated and where you're not part of one of the other colleges is maybe something like if you're doing maths or physics or computing. A lot of students from other colleges do computing modules, and a lot of the computing modules are actually Iris invigilated. So it's important, even though you may not be a CSET student, to actually check your timetable, because your timetable will reflect whether your exam is either Iris invigilated or invigilated by the Invigilator app that was just spoken about now. Okay. Okay, so what is Iris? Like the previous speaker mentioned, Iris is a software program that helps with, Iris is a program that helps with academic integrity, and Nick spoke about why we need academic integrity in our examinations. So I won't go into that in detail. Iris is different from the Invigilator app. Iris is a desktop app only. It's a computer-based app, PC-based app. It records audio, video, and computer screen activity for the duration of a test and exam. It analyzes this information using machine learning and automatically flags potential academic dishonesty. This is a point that is a picky point with students. Just note that not everything is regarded as academic dishonesty. So if you're looking away from your PC, if you're looking down, it is not regarded as academic dishonesty. It's when you are maybe looking away from your PC too often, or if you're writing an exam and you're looking down and you're looking left or right too often, that will be flagged as academic dishonesty. And although it may be flagged, the videos are still checked and the audio is still listened to determine if you were cheating or not. So it's not that, okay, if you look, maybe you've looked left or right quite often, and maybe you have an issue that or whatever, but maybe you like to speak. Some students like to talk during the examination or read out the questions. So the system will flag you for that, but if you are flagged, the video and the audio is still checked to see if you are actually being dishonest or not. So that's actually extremely important to take note of. How does IRIS work? So IRIS is active on your laptop or your desktop during the entire examination time. It records your audio and records your video, like I mentioned. It starts as soon as you open your examination, and it also takes screenshots. So you are obviously not allowed to move away from the My Exams platform. You can't go to other websites. Obviously, that depends on whether your examination is open book or not. If your examination is open book, there are some exams that are IRIS invigilated but are open book. Your lecturer will tell you what is allowed and what is not allowed in terms of open book examinations. What do you need when you're writing an IRIS examination? You need a stable internet connection. IRIS uploads the recordings every 10 minutes. So your internet connection has to be on and has to be stable. If your internet connection drops, IRIS will give an error and you'll probably have to restart IRIS. I'll come back to that later. You need a laptop or a desktop. IRIS does not work on a phone or tablet. You need an external built-in microphone. Headsets are not required. Obviously, the external microphone will be required on a desktop. Most laptops have built-in microphones. You need a web camera, and most laptops have web cameras. If you're using a desktop, you'll need to get an external web camera. You can use your phone as an external web camera. You just need to download an app, search for an app that can actually do that. Droid Cam is one of the apps that I know that can do that, where you can use your phone as a camera and a microphone. We recommend that your computer have minimum 4 GB RAM and you have Windows 7 64-bit or later. We also recommend that you install IRIS on Google or Google Chrome. It does work on Microsoft Edge, but it seems to give more problems on Microsoft Edge. So we recommend that you use Google Chrome. How do you install IRIS? You go to the Chrome Web Store. You go to Google and you search for Chrome Web Store. Then you click on the first link that pops up. You click on the search bar in the Chrome Web Store. You type in IRIS, and IRIS will be the first thing that pops up under the search. Then you double click on the IRIS extension, and then you click on Add to Chrome. And what happens next is that you'll get this little pop-up that says read and change all your data on the websites you visit. So it doesn't necessarily read and change all the data on the websites you visit. It needs access to obviously the My Exams platform. So that's why it asks you to say or gives you this message. you can click on add extension. It will not do anything, cause any security issues on your laptop. So what we recommend students to do after they have installed Iris, we recommend that they pin it to the taskbar. And to do that, you have to click on this little puzzle piece, and then you have to click on the pin icon next to Iris. Where it says Iris, you click on the pin. That's the pin. You click on that. Iris will then automatically be added to your taskbar. Okay. After you've installed Iris, then you go to your browser. Obviously, you can install Iris, and then when you're writing an exam, you go to your browser, you open your browser, you go to the My Exams platform, you choose your examination, then you'll be taken to a page where you have to log in with your My name and password. Then you will click on your exam, I should say tab, and not your exam link. You should click on your exam module tab, and then click on online assessment or e-assessment. For online assessments, Iris will pop up as soon as you have clicked on online assessment. I'll show you that just now as well. For e-assessments, Iris will pop up when you open the exam after you have clicked on e-assessment, and then you follow the Iris instructions, and then you start your exam. After you've done your exam, Iris will automatically pop up and will upload files, but we'll go through that as well now. Okay, so once you've clicked on online assessment or e-assessment and you've opened your exam, this is the first screen that you will see. You need to agree to the terms and conditions and the privacy policy. So you need to click on that checkbox. Then the first time you use Iris, Iris will ask you to allow for the use of the camera and for the use of microphone, and you have to click on allow for both options. Then this lady here will start talking and giving you instructions. This is called Iris. The instructions are basically say, choose your microphone, choose your camera, enter your name, and then enter your student ID number. What's very important to note here is that you have to enter your student number and not your actual identification number. Yeah, you need to enter your student number and not your ID number. Okay, the next step, Iris will ask you to hold your student card in front of the camera, and you can, some students, I know some students don't have student cards, so you're allowed to hold your ID card or your ID book to the camera, and you have to hold it as close as possible to the camera so that the entire ID card is in the frame. There's a reason for that. The reason is because Iris authenticates you automatically, so it matches your picture to the video that's taking of you, and to make sure that it's the same person that's writing the exam. Yeah, so it goes through an authentication process. Don't worry if your picture is old or for some reason, maybe if it's too old and Iris cannot authenticate you, lecturers or administrators are able to do that by themselves. So it does not mean that, okay, if your picture is too old that you will automatically be disqualified. You will still be authenticated manually. Okay, so the next step, Iris will ask you to position yourself in front of the camera. This, for take-home examinations, this is not that important, but Iris is still going to ask you to do that. Then you'll have to click on Start Invigilation. This is a very important step, and a lot of students forget this. After you've clicked on, forget how to do this. After you've clicked on Iris, what happens is that Iris asks you to share your screen because it needs permission from you to share your screen so that it can take pictures of your screen. But this button called the share button is grayed out, and in order to enable it, you have to click on this little window, and then this button turns purple, becomes enabled, and you are then able to click on it. And then after that, you will actually start writing your examination. So after you've clicked on share, you can minimize Iris and start writing your examination. After you finish your exam and you've clicked on submit, Iris will pop up again automatically and will start uploading some files. Once it's uploaded files, it will close by itself. So you don't have to do anything. You just let Iris run, you let Iris upload the files, and Iris will close by itself. You can then upload your examination. But if you, for some reason, maybe you finish your examination early, you can actually upload your examination before Iris pops up. And Iris will still pop up when the timer runs out. And upload the files. Okay. So I mentioned that I will come back to this point now. Earlier, I mentioned that I will explain to you when Iris pops up. So Iris on e-assessments pop up as soon as you click on the e-assessment option on the My Exams platform. So as soon as I click on, I need to click on e-assessment and then click on and open the exam. That's when Iris pops up on e-assessments. So I click on e-assessment, I click on the exam, Iris should then pop up. Okay, but Iris should then pop up. So sometimes Iris may not pop up, and because you've not installed it, or maybe you don't have a good internet connection, but you will still have access to the examination even though Iris doesn't pop up. So it is your prerogative. You have to make sure that Iris pops up. So you have to make sure that you have installed Iris, that you've tested it, and that that it pops up, and that you write under Iris. Sorry, this is, okay. I may have missed, no, I didn't miss anything. Right, sorry. On online assessments, Iris pops up as soon as you click on online assessment. So for e-assessment, it pops up when you open the exam. For online assessments, it pops up as soon as you clicked on online assessment. There's a distinction that you need to take note of. For online assessments, there is a password that is required. So I mentioned that for e-assessments, you can actually access your exam without Iris, but you have to make sure that you actually have Iris installed. For MCQ online assessments, you cannot access the exam without Iris. The MCQ assessments are password protected, and Iris puts in the password. So only if you have started Iris, if it has been, you've gone through all the steps correctly, then Iris will put in the password. If you haven't completed the steps, if you have not shared your screen, if for some reason your microphone is not working, Iris will not put in the password, and you won't be able to write an online examination. So that's important to take down. So this here we talk about the CSET exam site. We've prepared an exam preparation site for CSET students. You can log on to cset.myexams.unisa.ac.za, click on login in the top right hand corner of the page, log in with your MyUnisa username and password, and just remember that it's not myexams.unisa.ac.za, it is cset.myexams.unisa.ac.za. If you leave out the CSET, you're most likely going to get an invalid login error. Okay, so after putting in your username and password, you click on Sites on the top right hand corner next to your name. Now click on Exam Preparation October 2021, and then read the information on the overview page. What is extremely important to note is that you you have to do the practice test. If you do not do the practice test and you, for some reason, have a problem with IRIS during the examination, and you have a problem with IRIS, we will, and you maybe let your lecturer know, we will first check if you've done the practice test, and you may have to do the practice test during the examination. So we ask all students to actually go and do the practice test first. So make sure you do the practice test. If you've not done the practice test, it's at your disadvantage during the examination, and we can actually check if you've done the practice test or not. So it's almost like a prerequisite for CSET IRIS invigilated examinations. If you have a problem during using IRIS and you've not done the practice test, the chances of you getting 0 for examination are much higher than if you have done the practice test. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So this is just a picture of what the CSET exam preparation site looks like. It says exam preparation October 2021. Some students may not be linked to the site. That's because our ICT department is still linking students who have IRIS invigilated exams to this site. So some students may not be linked. If you're not linked, you can actually send me an email also. I will give you my email address at the end. Okay, so frequently asked questions. These are questions that students usually ask us during the examinations, and most of them are because students do not do the practice test. If you did the practice test, you will most likely not experience any of these issues during the examination. The first one is an access denied error. This is linked to the whole issue of MCQ examinations and the fact that it is protected by a password. So if for some reason the password does not fold in and you do have IRIS installed, but the password was not filled in, there are cases where this does happen. Usually previously it's happened because the IRIS servers get overloaded during the examinations, and for some students the password is not populated. What we ask students to do is to close IRIS, log out of the exams, clear the browser, clear your browser cache, close your browser, open your browser, and start your exam again. On Google, you clear your browser cache by clicking Control-Shift-Delete and then click Clear Data. So after you've closed your browser and you open your browser again, complete all instructions, ensure that your screen is shared, and then click on Start Invigilation. Do not change the password. Some students feel that they need to put in their MyUnisa password when it requires a password. When the MCQ asks for a password, you're not supposed to put in your UNISA password there. The password is filled in, so do not put in your own password. Do not change the password. The password should be filled in. For take-home assessments, sometimes also IRIS may not pop up. This problem we don't expect this year for both MCQs and take-home assessments. The fact that IRIS does not pop up, we don't expect it because the IRIS servers have been improved, so they are able to handle examinations with large student numbers much better. So we don't expect this issue this year, but if you do experience it, again, log out of My Exams, clear your browser cache, close your browser, open your browser, and start your exam again. Complete all instructions, ensure your screen is shared, and then you can click on Start Invigilation. If an unexpected error has occurred, okay, for this one, sometimes students get this error during the examination, and that's because IRIS tries to upload, as I mentioned previously, every 10 minutes. And if it tries to upload at some point, and for some reason your internet connection is too slow or maybe gone down, unfortunately, you're going to get this error. So what you need to do then is to close the window and refresh the exam page. IRIS will pop up again. quickly complete the instructions again and basically start IRIS again. If you get this issue often, you can continue writing your exam. Let's say you get it 3 times. You can then continue writing your exams, send the screenshots of this error to your lecturer so that they are aware that you had a problem with your examination, with IRIS during your examination, and so you won't be penalized for having a slow network connection. Okay. And then sometimes students get this issue where IRIS does not close at the end of an examination. So what happens is that you submit your exam and IRIS pops up and starts uploading, but does not close. So it just uploads forever. So IRIS at the end of exam should not take more than 15 minutes to upload. If it runs longer than 15 minutes, what we tell students to do is to close IRIS. So you force close IRIS. We would have had most of your recordings, so it's not really a disadvantage to you if we don't get the last few minutes of your recordings. But we tell students to close IRIS, and then there's something called finalize recordings that we ask students to do. I'll show you that just now, how to do that just now. Okay, so this error, this is something that unfortunately some students, not a lot of students get, but some students, where when IRIS pops up, but it just says loading after it's popped up. That is most likely also due to an extremely slow internet connection. So essentially it's not connecting to the server and it's an extremely slow internet connection. So you actually have to first check your internet connection, check that you're actually connected to the internet. If the internet connection is fine and you still have that problem, then we ask you to restart your PC and only open necessary applications, because IRIS also uses a lot of memory on your computer. So make sure there's no unnecessary applications open. You can also try removing the extension and reinstalling. But what we suggest you do, if you can't solve this issue, and then we ask that you call the student hotline. I'll give you the number just now. Okay, some students have the IRIS obviously requires your microphone and webcam, and if for some reason maybe you forget to click the allow option when you write your first examination or your first test under IRIS, you click you do not allow IRIS to use your microphone or camera. Then IRIS won't recognize your microphone or camera. So you can solve that by going to Chrome settings content, or under Edge you go to settings content and you click on either camera or microphone. On Chrome you ensure that IRIS is on the allow list and not blocked. On Edge you make sure that your site permissions for camera and microphone are set to asked first and not blocked. Okay, if for some reason your microphone is still not working, or IRIS does not pick up your microphone, you can test your microphone on this website, webcammictest.com. If you are still having, usually the microphone issue is sorted out by doing this, microphone and camera. But if you still have issues and you've tested your microphone, then sometimes third-party applications like MS Teams that we're on now, or Skype, actually block you from using your camera on other applications. So you may have used it maybe before your examination, and then you may have used Skype before your examination, and then you start your examination, and then for some reason your camera is not picking up your camera. It could be locked by a third-party program like Skype or MS Teams. What we ask students to do is to, obviously you must close MS Teams and close Skype or anything that would use your microphone and camera during the examination. So you have to close those applications, you have to restart your PC and then log back in. Okay, so I mentioned this just now, that when IRIS doesn't close, or maybe even when you've had issues with IRIS during the examination, and what we ask students to do is to go and finalize recordings. And so earlier on, I told you that you need to pin iris to your taskbar, and this is the reason why you do it. Because if you pin iris to your taskbar and for some reason you have a problem with iris during the examination or at the end of the examination, there might still be videos that are stored on your PC. So iris uploads videos, but it also stores the videos on your PC. And you can actually, if it hasn't been uploaded, you can actually go and right click on the icon and click on finalize recordings, and your videos will then be uploaded. So sometimes if students have issues with the internet, then we ask them to maybe when the internet connection is better, like in the evenings or when in the afternoons, after the written examination, they don't have to finalize. You don't have to finalize recording straight away. You can wait till the evening or the afternoon when your internet connection may be better, and then you can right click on the icon and click on finalize recordings. Okay, yeah, okay, I am actually done now. But I think this is important to note that we know that for some students, and not for all the students, I think in our past examinations we've done some research, and we find that maybe 10 out of 100 students will have an issue with iris. So we tell students it's not a lot of students that actually have issues with iris. Like I said, it's 10 maybe out of 100 or 15 out of 100. And then what I want to say is that if you do have an issue with iris, do not panic. We will if you call the student hotline and they can't help you, then they will refer you to someone else, what is referred to as the JOC, and there are some technical people there that will be able to help you. I am one of the people on the JOC, so you will be helped. So do not panic. You will be allowed extra time if necessary. So yes, and it is also your responsibility to demonstrate integrity and by reading and following the instructions and completing your exam without assistance. So yeah, I want to reiterate this. Do not panic, because a lot of students panic and a lot of students assume that maybe a lot of students have other issues that they assume that it's an iris related issue, but it's not iris. Like maybe you can't see your exam, for instance, and probably because you're not, for some reason, not linked to the site. So if you have a technical issue, do not panic. Do not panic. I can't say this. A lot of students panic and get scared that they don't have enough time. We will allow you extra time if necessary, and you will be able to write your exams. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Denzel. I'm done.
Thanks,
yeah.
Thanks, Lazarus, for that, and also for unpacking how the iris tool actually works. And I just want to reiterate something, that this is only for CSET modules that use iris. Remember the three things. One is not all modules are being proctored, so make sure you check on your exam timetable which modules are being proctored, which modules you need Invigilator app for. Two, there are two different types of app, the Invigilator app and the iris app. Only the College of Science, Engineering and Technology modules will use the iris app. The rest modules that are invigilated will use the Invigilator app. So just take careful note of that as you start to engage the exams. Lazarus, we have a few questions, and maybe I can now start posing some of these questions to you. Not so many, but I think there are some good questions that have come up from a practical point of view. So the first question, Lazarus, is there a PDF scanner needed or in the app as part of the app?
No, the app does not have a PDF scanner. You can actually, after iris closes, then you can actually go and upload your exam using your phone.
Okay.
After your exam, you can, during the upload time, you can use the Microsoft Office Lens app on your phone.
Okay, thanks for that. So Microsoft Office Lens, preferred app. Thanks. The second question, can you close the app if you are done with your exam beforehand, or must you wait for the time to run out?
Yes, the app is supposed to close as soon as you click on submit. So if you finish beforehand and you click on submit, the app is supposed to close. But if the app does not close, yes, you can close it. Yeah, you can close it. Yes.
Okay, thanks for that. Next question. I know this question was flagged as part of the Q&A session. I noticed this, and I think the students have a good concern coming from this. Once the exams are over, and does the app have access to what's happening on the laptop?
No, students believe that it has access, but it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's no other access. Yeah. It can only access something that's on the My Exam site. So it has any access when you're on the My Examination site. If that site is closed and IRIS is closed, it has got no other access to your computer.
Thanks, Lazarus. Oh, you use the term flag. What is meant by flagging?
Flagging. So anything that is considered by IRIS to be dishonesty. So background noises, looking away from your PC is considered as dishonesty, and it for any of these events, IRIS adds a percentage to it has a flagging percentage amount. So for any of these events, what IRIS does is that it increases that percentage. So if, for instance, you are not authenticated, you're automatically, your percentage, I think it increases by 15%. So your flagging percentage, if you're not authenticated, is increased by 15%. And for any other activities, like I said, like maybe you're opening another window, it increases further. So if IRIS, you could get an 80-90% flagging, or you could get a 10% flagging. So, but we don't consider the flagging because for take-home examinations, we don't consider the flagging a lot, because we know students are not looking at their PC, they're looking down a lot, and they might be looking away or just thinking, and your hands are moving or your eyes are moving. Remember, IRIS is a system that it actually follows your eyes. So it technically follows your eyes. And if you can check where your eyes are going, and if your eyes are moving away from the screen, it can tell. So yeah, it increases your percentage of possible dishonesty, but just remember, we do not consider that when we're looking at the recordings. Yeah.
Thanks, Lazarus. I see there are also a few questions that are flagged for Invigilator app, but I will refer that to the WhatsApp line. I just want to see if there's any more questions specific. Oh yes, Lazarus, any guidelines on specs for the laptop that the student, I know we had this the last time as well. Are there any specs that, specifications that the student needs to consider as part of the IRIS app? Is there anything that they know that they must have the specifications for that app?
Yep, obviously it's the camera and the microphone, and then the 4 GB RAM. I would say that is very important, the 4 GB RAM and the camera and the microphone. In terms of, no, I think if you had an older PC, if you've got a 5-year or 10-year PC, that doesn't matter how old your PC is, 4 GB RAM and a camera and a microphone.
Oh, thanks. And in terms of the camera, I know some of them have already noted the cameras are not good quality. Does that affect anything?
No, not.
So it's fine. So okay, perfect. Okay, and I see there's a lot of other questions that are related to. I don't see the colleagues from. If the colleagues are still here with us on Invigilator app, you can just let me know. But yeah, so those are the main questions that emerge. I think a lot of these are specific from the CSET questions, CSET colleagues that are writing their exams. So to clarify, we begin the assessment once exam commences. Then once we are finished with the take-home exam laptop, we say finish assessment on the app, then take pictures of each PDF page of our laptop, then upload this on the app, then we upload PDF on My Exams. Is it correct?
Yes, yeah. Just remember, yeah, correct. You just remember that you only have 1 hour, you have an hour upload time, and the upload time is not meant for continuing with your examination. That's very important. Yes,
and the upload time is in addition to the exam time. So if you've got a 12 paper, the 1 hour is in addition, and that is specifically for the upload so that you don't interfere with your exam time when you're answering the questions. but also caution, don't abuse that time and start writing your exam paper in that upload time. That will be an infringement of the university policies. Thank you very much, Lazarus. I think there might be many other questions that would merge, but I would like to encourage at this time, we've come to the end of the session, but what I would like to do is encourage the students that for two things. One is take note of the WhatsApp number that is provided for Invigilator app. Please WhatsApp them, send them a message if you have those personal questions and you need those guidance, that are one-on-one guidance, and they will be able to assist you via the WhatsApp. So please take note of that number. It is placed and published on the Q&A. Then we've also published a CSET number for the communication service for students, and that's our 0800 number. You'll also find that published on the published questions as well. So those are two outlines to help you get through any of your questions. So don't sit alone and panic. Phone these numbers and try to get all of them, and they will assist you with the skills that you need. And then also, I would like to quickly say that tomorrow we've got a session on academic integrity and students with special needs. So please join us tomorrow as well at our session, where you will discuss what exactly is academic integrity in an online environment. And if you are a student that is differently enabled, find out what provisions are made for you in this upcoming online exams. And we will be engaging two colleagues who will be able to answer those critical questions for you. And on Friday, we have what we call the student blast sessions. So these are 5 groups run by 5 different people, 5 groups of people. And in each of those sessions, you can literally call in via the Teams channel, pose your question to the group, and they will be able to assist you. So for example, if you have those questions on the Invigilator app that you did not get any answers to, please join us on the Friday evening session. And we've specifically run week 2. Week 1, last week, we had it during the day, in the morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to cater for those students that are at home. And this week, we intentionally are having the after-hour classes for those that are working, so that we can make sure that we don't marginalize students and we provide the critical information to all our students. So this week, Friday, as I said, we'll be having those blast sessions. Join in and join any of the 5 groups, and you can pose your questions to the group leaders, and they will be able to provide you the clarification that you need for specific questions that may not have been answered today. From my side, I would also like to say thank you to the team that have been working in the background. Thank you to our facilitators, those from Invigilator app and Lazarus from the Iris app. And then thank you to the EdOf team and the SRU team working in the backdrop to answer all the questions and provide those critical guidelines that you need. And from my side as well, thank you very much to all our students that have taken this time, especially this late hour, coming back from work as well. And I know many of you may be tired and also stressed out at the number of modules that you're writing. So thank you very much for joining us. And we, from our team, from the EdOf team, we wish you well as you commence with the examination, and hope you succeed and do well. And remember, it takes a little bit of hard work, but with that hard work put in, the success is definitely shown. So on behalf of us, we wish you much strength as you start engaging with the exams. And don't forget, any questions that you may have, please join us on the Friday blast sessions, and we'll be able to give you that support that you need in addition to this. So thank you very much, colleagues, and thank you very much to our students. We pray that you all have a good night and good rest, and may you all be blessed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues, and goodbye.